Well, good morning and welcome to Grandfather's Garage. I'm Grandfather, and this YouTube channel is for my now 4 grandkids, Haneen, Roland, Una, and Helena. Good morning, kids, because they live too far away to come spend every Saturday morning in their grandfather's garage messing around. So this is my way of bringing the garage to them with all of its projects and some of life's tidbits. We're going to build stuff, repair things, do some fishing, take some field trips, all so I can share some time with them. We're glad you could join us, so let's go see what we're going to do today in the garage. Come on.
So this quick project started off as a simple request from Chuck, who had just finished renovating a small kegerator for his shop. He saw a shelf in a bar that was displaying a collection of beer taps. So we could do one of those. I have to apologize again because I jumped in and started this project before I remembered I was supposed to be making a video. You're going to miss the first couple of steps, so please bear with me. I found a piece of scrap lumber I had laying around that was large enough for what I had in mind. When I say scrap, I mean scrap. This was a chunk of heavy marine grade pressure treated lumber from someone's dock that had broken loose and was floating down the waterway. It looked somewhat like this piece when I started. I had pulled it out so a boat wouldn't hit it and stashed it in the pile to dry out. You never know when a piece like this will come in handy. I like the thickness, so I cut the piece to size, sanded the top and bottom with heavy paper, cut the front edge at an angle, and then took a grinder to the front edge to create the live edge look. Once I had it shaped, I took a torch to it to burn in the wood grain. I focused around the areas with the knots to create more character. I wanted to highlight the unique features in the wood. It was being repurposed after all. I decided to make it a floating shelf as opposed to a shelf with brackets to hold it up. So I went online and bought a hidden bracket in the length to fit the shelf. This is what the bracket looks like. I notched the back edge of the shelf so the bracket would be inset and the shelf would sit flush to the wall. I then lined up the bars on the shelf and very carefully, as straight as I could, drilled into the edge. Once the bracket was tested for fit, I started working on the bolts to hold the taps in place. I matched the bolt size to the tap threads, calculated the length that I would need, and then spaced them out on the shelf. I drilled a hole wide enough to sink the heads in flush, then drilled through the shelf for the rest of the bolt. Once the bolts were all in place, I set them in glue, let them dry, and then fill the holes with wood filler. Even though it would be the bottom of the shelf, I added brown lines through the filler so they would be just less visible. After a lot of additional sanding, some additional burning to highlight the grain, I then added several coats of polyurethane to dress it up. The cap nuts were added just for looks because Chuck didn't have enough taps to fill all the spots that I made. I'm sure he'll get more taps to fill it out soon. The shelf bracket was mounted to the wall, bolted into the studs, and then the shelf slid snugly in place right over the kegerator. I think it adds a nice feature to the new tap room. Well, as always, I hope you enjoyed following along with this short little project. We look forward to having you join us again next time.